What's up, guys? Welcome to Cheerleaders Incorporated. My name is Chelsea here, and today we will be talking about the classic movie. You know what it is. It's called Bring It On. Bring It On is about a cheerleader named Torrance, who's an upcoming senior who becomes captain of her former team, the Toros. We all know Torrance is the main character in this film. She is the whole protagonist of the whole thing, who is like the most important character, obviously. So we're gonna know more. There's gonna be lots of information about her in this video and in this movie. Then we have the locker room. Torrance is discussing with her friends, her narcotic fake friends, Courtney and Whitney, who are supposed to be her friends, I guess. I feel like they're fake, and Big Red, a former captain of the Rancho Toros. She's gathering up tallies and all that stuff. She's gathering it all. And finally, she announces Torrance as the captain. And her fake friends, of course, are supposed to be happy, but they just whispered, yeah, they're fake. Like, they were not happy at all. Of course, in this type of world, the world Torrance lives in, she's supposed to be like this perfect cheerleader Barbie, with the perfect boyfriend, with her former boyfriend. Like, this guy's basically like a real life Ken. And then she's supposed to have these two, like, her so-called best friends, Courtney and Whitney, on her side. And she's just supposed to have like the perfect senior year with the perfect teammates, her perfect friends, all that, just everything. And I can tell deep down that's not what she really wants. I mean, it's just like, this is like the stereotypical thing from like a blonde Caucasian girl, just perfect, pretty, and a cheerleader. That's just most like stereotypes we as cheerleaders would get, especially if you're like white or something. So Torrance has the first practice, and what she wants to do is a really difficult pyramid. Now, her teammates aren't so sure about it because they are scared that they're going to get hurt and whatnot because they hear that it's really, really difficult. So they try it out anyway. They start failing at first, but then when they finally get it up, her teammate, I forgot her name, like, was it Red Carver or something like that? She ends up falling and hurting herself like really bad and ends up going straight to the hospital. Yeah, nice way to start as captain, sending your teammate straight to the hospital on the first practice. Wow. And of course, they have to have tryouts to replace this girl. And as the guys, guys, you literally have these random weirdos on here at the tryouts just trying to be something that they're like not. I mean, this scene was so comical to me, to be honest. I mean, you just have like these randoms, like some rappers and some guy like freaking singing or something like that. I don't know. It was just funny the whole time, and I just found it just so weird. The tryout scene was pretty funny because they had all these random people coming up, some who think they knew cheerleading, some who didn't know at all, and then you just have all these just ridiculous. And then Whitney brings out her little sister. Yes, like I said, her little sister, this little girl right here who looks uninterested and just bored. Like, y'all can tell this kid looks uninterested. Like, I can just tell by her posture and her body language. I can read body language, seriously. She looks like she's 13 or 12 maybe, I don't know. And she wants to put her on the team as Red Carver's replacement. But of course, Torrance was just not into this child's energy. I mean, she looked a little dull and just so bored about it. And I could tell the little girl didn't want nothing to do with it. And then we have our new character, Missy, come into the picture. Now, her and her brother, I didn't mention this, her brother Clifton come in, and he's kind of like the weird little punk rock dude or something like that. And he just comes in, and Torrance kind of takes a liking to this guy. So yeah. So anyway, to Missy comes in. She's kind of dressed all like weird with her hair trying to look like dreads or something like that. And the girls immediately just start being Regina George and starts trash talking her or something like that. Yeah, they are. They didn't really do it in the scene, but I can tell that they in their heads they were trash talking her. And Missy pulls off that bad, good stunt pass. Like, she just blew everybody away. They told her to just do a front of back handspring, for a full twisting layout. Which she did. I mean, like, of course, she's a freaking gymnast. And she realizes that that the whole school doesn't have a gymnastics team because, she's a gymnast, not much of a cheerleader. I mean, yes, she can tumble, but, and she can't cheer and all that stuff. So she even said herself, this is a last resort. And Torrance makes an exception and decides to put Missy on the team because she can tell that this girl has like skills and she can really evaluate this whole squad. You know what I mean? So on the first practice, Missy comes in and the Rancho Trolls are warmed up and everything. And then when they start their cheer stance, they do the classic "Burr, it's cold in here," but instead of the cold, they use the toros and all that stuff. And to be honest, it looked a little whack the way that those girls did it because I like the Clovers better. But anyway, back to the Trolls first. Missy looks at them and just know that whole routine looked familiar, and that's when she's like, I'm not doing it, and leaves. Torrin confronts her like, WTH, like, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? Like, and Missy's like, you totally jacked up those cheers. Like, those aren't yours. She's like, oh no. And Torrin's like, oh no, these are 100% ours. Count the trophies. And Missy's like, well, your trophies are BS because you're a sad cheerleader and all that stuff. And so, Torrance threatened her and all that stuff. And then Missy's like, you know what, get in the car, come on. And Torrance gets in. She's like, whatever, I'll get in. She gets in, not knowing that she's in for a really rude awakening. Like, seriously. Missy takes Torrance all the way from San Diego to Compton. And that's where they meet. The Clovers. And when they start to do their thing, Isis came out, like all boss, all that stuff like that. They're like, do your thing, Isis. And they do the classic "Bird, it's cold in here." That's right, y'all. The Clovers told this performance up. They were truly the OGs of all this. Like, it's their content. And it's so baffling to Torrin that knowing that this is their choreography, the original, it's no surprising that it's truly theirs. Like, don't take an OG's choreography. That's just something like you just don't do. Like, seriously, you just don't. I love all the routines in this movie, man. Like, I just do. And Torrance is like, oh my God. And she's just like her heart is beating so fast, like realizing like what the heck, and seeing, but not only that, she realizes how really good they are and how it really fits them, and she can see that, oh my God, this is like the original right here. This isn't ours, this is theirs. And as they leave, the Clovers, Isis and her friend and her girls confront them, calling them out and all that stuff. You hear to steal routines and whatnot because we just love seeing it on ESPN. And Torrance is like, what are you talking about? I have no idea about that. And Isis explains everything that's about some Raggedy Ann talking about Big Red coming in with a camera firmly attached to her hand, filming them, their routines, and stealing them, trying to recreate the choreography as if it's her own, putting some blonde hair on and calling it theirs. You know what I mean? So Torrance is just just shocked at this type of news, knowing that her own former cheer captain has been jacking cheers and making it into theirs when it's not her original choreography, which is just messed up. I mean, we can relate. Like, this happens in competitive cheerleading all the time. People would always just copy routines and just call it theirs when really it isn't. Like, it happens, and it's honestly annoying to me. I just like creating my own things. I don't like doing what everybody does. You just don't do that. So Torrance and them leaves. Before she does, she said, I had no idea, just trying to play the innocent white girl. She's playing the innocent, pulling the innocent card. Like, I didn't know. And, Isis is just not having it. She's like, well, now you do. So, I mean, what do you expect? She's not going to sit here and say, oh, it's okay, sweetie. You didn't know. Like, it's just not like that. The thing about Black people, we just don't just fall for the whole victim role card. We just don't. Like, you know what you did. That's what your captain did. I mean, come on. So, yeah. After that, Torrin in the car, she's just realizing that her whole cheerleading career has been a lie, that she's just been gypped, tricked, and just manipulated, brainwashed by Big Red's whole, cheerleading coaching methods. I mean, she's the phony. Big Red's the big phony in this whole fiasco thing, not Torrance, really. It's not her fault. I wouldn't say it's Torrance's fault because Big Red is the mastermind behind all this. So in the car, she explains Missy that she thinks she's cursed. It has something to do with that curse that happened to her back at summer camp when she was an upcoming senior. She explains that when that Big Red dared her to take the spirit stick and drop it in front of that Texas team, you know. And what the spirit stick is, a spirit stick is like a cheerleader's, like, you know, good luck prize possessions, like it's like something you hold. We kind of had stuff like that back then in cheerleading, but I don't know, like we don't have those nowadays, but we did back then. It's kind of like a good luck charm to keep them, but however, it can never touch the ground, because if it does, like, that's just bad luck. It's a curse. Like, cheerleaders believe in curses, y'all. Like, I'm serious. Then Torrin comes back to her team and explains to them that Big Red is a big fake. Like, she just totally lied to everybody and she just sold her own former captain out and everything, that she just rigged the whole thing, and that the whole routines were not their original choreography. So those trophies are basically the Clovers. So thank you, Clovers, for those routines. Here's your trophies, you know. Like I said, Big Red's the big fake phony in this. She stole routine. She just took a routine from Compton, put some blonde hair on it, and called it theirs. Like, it's like Isis said. I can quote her on that, because like that's the kind of type of chick that some girl like her would do, and just be fake about it, literally. And Courtney and Whitney are just not having it, because when Tori explains that we should start over, like, no, like no, come on, this is ridiculous. This isn't about cheating. This is about winning. Like, are you kidding me? I'm thinking, like, so you're just gonna go to this competition and do the exact same routine that they're doing? Are you kidding me? Because thanks to Big Red, like, she ruined the Clovers, like, cheer program, because stealing their routines just ruined their whole cheer program, to where they couldn't attend much competition because their routines are out there already. Like, what the heck? So they went along with it, and Missy's like, "What? Come on, Torrance, we can't do this." And like, "Okay, Missy, we don't have time. I'm sorry." And so they go with it. Then we have the game day, the first game, the football game, because we all know that their football team sucks, and that the only good thing that high school has good going is the freaking cheerleading team, like, literally. Like, these football players will pick on the male cheerleaders to make themselves feel good, because they have a crappy football team and a crappy football program. I mean, the cheerleaders wins all the time, and the football players don't, so, you know. And as they're, you know, this is Missy's first game and everything, they kind of like girled her up, like literally girled her up. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. She literally went from this to this. I mean, this is like the epic glow up, literally. This had to been one of the best glow ups ever, because Missy is actually a very gorgeous girl without the dreadlocks and everything. So she kind of really just stands out to me, because she kind of went from like hippie person to like pretty gorgeous brunette, like in an instant. Like, you just don't judge people by their legs, because they could look better than you. So onto the game, they do their cheers. They even had a freaking cheer battle with the formal team. I thought it was funny. And as they're getting to it, Clifton and Torrance kind of gives a little lovey contact, and Courtney and Whitney even noticed it and kind of confronted her. "You would do that to your boyfriend? Like, literally?" And then all of a sudden, once they get into their next cheer, the Clovers show up. Like, they just came on their territory, all that stuff. They're looking down on them, trying to intimidate them. And as they're doing the, "All right, we're bad, we're this, we're that, and that, we're the best," you know, the Clovers start mocking them and doing the same thing. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm thinking, like, did Big Red also steal their cheers? Because they knew that choreography, like, just like that. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, Big Red is such a big fake, because not only did they steal the routines, she stole the freaking cheers as well. Like, I'm not kidding. Who just shows up and just shows out on people's territory like that, man? That's just something like a no-no. Like, Tori don't know what to do at this point. She's being played, showed out at her own turf, man. Come on. Like, the Clovers were not playing, man. Like, they just showed up and just showed out, literally. Pathetic. Realizing this mess, Torrance says, okay, we can't do this. We can't show up like this. We have to get a new routine. Not only did the whole team agree, but even the audience agrees. So they went along and decide, okay, we're changing routine. So once Torrance goes back to Missy's house and spends the night, and then she kind of has like a little toothbrush night with a little toothbrush romantic moment with her brother Clifton and all that stuff. They're getting into brushing their teeth, having all that. And next morning, Torrance calls her boyfriend, telling him that what Big Red did. He's like, oh my God, I had no idea what happened. And then he recommends her this choreographer named Sparky. That's right, guys. This guy is named Sparky. He is a so-called choreographer. He knows way more about choreography than cheerleaders do. And he's just showing up with this spicy attitude. Like, I literally had no idea how to really feel about this guy, other than the fact that he's weird or whatnot. Now, the money was going to be a lot, so Torrance decided to have a little car wash she got the whole team to do a little car wash to raise the money to get this guy to come in and teach him a routine at the last minute before their first competition comes up. And once they have Sparky show up, Sparky teaches them their choreography and all that stuff, consisting of hip thrusting and spirit fingers. I honestly did not get the spirit fingers because cheerleaders never do that, so I don't know where he got that from, what kind of choreographer this guy is. Like, is he from like varsity or something? I don't know. And Torrance is just, you can tell this girl is just not comfortable with this routine because it looks corny. It just looks like a hot mess. I literally hated this routine. It was just so dull. And finally, once they got the routine together, the first competition comes up and they all show up. It's all exciting and everything. Torrance feels confident that she did the right thing. And then all of a sudden they see the Clovers show up. They walk by them and all that stuff. And once they perform, the Clovers perform, like, that performance was drop down good. Like, this was the routine y'all supposed to be doing? Wow. Watching the Clovers for the first time in their actual routine, they were dropped down the best. Like, hands down. They really killed it at the first competition. Why not? There's no denying that those original routines were theirs because they can tear it up on stage regardless. I mean, the judges can even give them 0 deductions. They were hands down the best in that whole competition, man. I mean, it's clear how the difficulty it is and how the Toros cannot match up to them at this point. It's no wonder why Big Red was so obsessed with this one team's choreography in the first place. Heck, I would want to do a routine like that too. So the Clovers, they do their thing. They get down. Like I said, I love all the routines in this movie, especially with the Clovers in the first competition. They can jig it all down like that. And finally, and Torrance is just looking at them like, oh my God, they are amazing. Like, what have I got myself into? Like, is my routine good enough? Is it this or that, And then she gets then her and her whole team get an interview from like this cheer news anchor woman, talking about their undefeated title and all that stuff from nationals. All of a sudden, they hear their music playing. Torrance runs to the scene and sees yet another cheerleading team doing the same routine as them. Like, oh my God, it was like lockdown, shut down for Torrance. And she pulls Missy aside saying, oh my God, it's the curse, it's the curse. And Missy's like, you're just being paranoid, Torrance. It's not the curse. It isn't. Just come on. And so once it's the Toros' turn, they go in, they just put a forced smile on their face and do the freaking routine anyway. And the crowd went from like hype happy to freaking crickets in an instant after they were done. Like that's got to be embarrassing. That never happens. That should never happen to you when you're at a cheerleading competition. Your routine better be top notch. I don't even care if you have no difficulty. It should have been top notch anyway. And after they perform, the Clovers kind of like taunting them, saying, wow, that was interesting. Don't worry, we'll send you a postcard on the way to nationals. And Torrance is just humiliated and boggled by this whole thing. And then Big Red confronts her saying, what are you doing? You ruined everything. Just going off on her saying how much she regrets making her captain. And then Torrance try to call her out on her BS, saying that, don't you mean a stolen routine? Like, you stole routines. And Big Red's like, I had to do what I had to do for the team, okay? Like, admitting that she had to cheat to get to where she's at. So that's just pathetic to me. Like, you don't do that. That's not captain material. That just shows how phony and fake you are. So in cheerleading, you just gotta stay true to yourself. That's it. Just stay true in everything. That's like life. Then you have her the freaking competition director confronted her, telling her that what y'all did, like we should disqualify y'all for that. And like Torrance is pleading, and she convinced the guy to not disqualify them or nothing like that. And he's like, oh, all right, and made a freaking exception. Of course, he made exception with her because she's doing her little damsel victim plea and all that stuff. And he gives them a freaking bid anyway. Like, come on. After that, her boyfriend and everything comes to her and tells her, it's not your fault. It's okay. It's my fault. Okay. I'm so sorry. And he even tells her to give up captain and just do you toward cheer. Just cheer. Like, what kind of boyfriend does that? So she just realizes that her former boyfriend is just not so lovey-dovey after all. Like, he just told her to quit being captain. That's just something you don't do in cheerleading. You don't quit on anything, whether it be like this or back spot or base. You just don't. And Tora just decided to take into consideration. And then her boyfriend gives her a ride home and all that stuff. He gives her a kiss goodbye. And then Tora gets out of the car and realizes Cliff is right there with flowers and everything. And Cliff just realized, like, oh, she has a boyfriend. Wow. And he was really into Torrance. And Torrance was just not being honest with this guy. So kind of broke his heart. And he gave her the flowers and everything and said, oh, I left you a mixtape, and just left. Torrance she goes upstairs. She's just crying, falling apart. She just feels like her whole, cheerleading season is just gone downhill. Like, it just went down. And, all is given up, that she should just quit. I mean, it's like the end of the world for her, you know what I mean? And then she finds the mixtape in the flowers. And so she plays it. And in this scene, Torrance she's getting into the song, and she starts dancing around, getting hype, and the song just cheers her up and encourages and motivates her, because that's what cheerleaders do. Cheerleaders encourage people and they motivate them to keep going, because you're not a quitter, you're a fighter, you know what I mean? And it just motivated Torrance into trying again. I can't quit now, I still have a chance, we still got nationals. So she goes by and tries to stand up to Whitney and Courtney, saying, I'm not giving up captain, I'm staying. No, I'm not giving up. And Torrance just kind of, and the team just sees that Torrance, wow, she really does want to stay our captain. And they keep her anyway, because she just showed how strong and independent, and it just shows leadership, because that's what a captain's being about just standing your ground and showing that you really want this, and that you're tough enough, or well, not tough, but just brave and bold enough to take the heat. So Torrance decided to do a whole fresh routine. They had all the time in the world to get this before their last competition and everything. So she went around, she did everything she could to create a new routine, using theatrical to hip hop to even mime and all that stuff, literally. Because that's what cheerleaders do. They create, it's to create a routine, just look for inspiration, because that's what we do. We use themes and stuff like that. We can use anything that requires to choreography and to making a good routine, as well to difficulty. And that's what she did. I'm not gonna lie, guys. She really did some back-breaking work to get her teammates into shape and to making the best routine ever possible. And as she's doing it, she gets the whole routine together. Missy's into it. Everybody's getting ready, and they're all happy and good. And eventually, after that, she confronts her former boyfriend, who finds out that he's cheating on her. Of course, I think she knew. Seriously, guys, this guy is literally a real life Ken for Torrance. And she breaks up with him and says, "Let it go. You never believed in me," because he literally told her to quit being captain. Guys, who does that? And after that, Torrance goes to Clifton and admits her feelings to him. He's like, wow, sure, what you do, and all that stuff. And she's like, you believed in me, you know? And Missy kind of had to come to the picture and slap some sense into her brother. She didn't really hit him, but she should have. But I think she should have. And she just kind of just tells him, like, she broke up her boyfriend for you. Like she did that for you. So you should really just take that into consideration and be with her, you know? Then next up, the team, the Toros find out a big bomb just came by and tell them that the Clovers will not be showing up because they couldn't get the money in time to raise to go to the competition, you know, all that stuff, you know, competition fees, you know. And Torrance is like, no, they have to show up. Although that should be good news, Torrance was just not having it because in order to be the best, she said you have to compete against the best, which is true, you know. And so she decided to convince her father to write a check for them to sponsor them so they can go. And Torrance, eventually she got the check and she went up to the Clovers to give it to him, saying, you guys have got to become nationals, like you need to. And Ice is like, what is this, hush money? And like Isis is just like, I love her so much because she just showed, because like basically what Torrance was doing, what looked like to Isis is like, it's like she's showing them pity, you know, like, oh, you guys can't raise the money, don't worry, but my nice dad that owns a company will give you money to go. And Isis is like, no, we're not a charity. Like, I can do this myself. I'm the captain. That's what a captain is. I have to show my team that I can be strong and bold and do it ourselves. We don't need pity. You know what I mean? We're not a charity. So I see that's why Isis took the whole thing, just ripped it up in her face and everything. And she says, if you want to make things right, bring it. And Torrance is like, all right then. So the Clovers eventually raised the money by getting it from a TV spokesperson named Paula, she's probably like a Oprah Winfrey in this movie, you know. And Paula grants their wish and everything, gives them the money to go, and Isis successfully did that. That just kind of shows that she's a very independent, like Isis is very independent. That's kind of like a captain would do, you know, independence, you know what I mean? They kind of strive a lot. And successfully was a great plan because they wrote the letter to Paula and everything. They made it sound convincing, and they got the money and they got to go. Headed to the competition, the classic UCA. That's right, folks. Torrance, the Rancho Clovers, the Toros, all that. They all show up to the competition. They're all getting ready, warmed up. Like, Torrance even tried to call Clifton, but he didn't answer, of course. So day one, they all get into it. They all give a spectacular performance. You don't really see the routines, you just see clips and all that stuff. And they show off all the routines and everything. And they say this kind of happens in all competitions. Like, they have like a cut day. You have to at least make, like, I don't know, like the top 10 or top 5 in order to make it back the second day. That happens at World's End Summit. So yeah. Then Torrance, like the Clovers and the Toros, they made it to the second day, of course, you know, all that. And next scene where Torrance and Missy are talking. Torrance, in this scene, I feel like Torrance just realized she discovered a true, real friendship with Missy, because Missy's kind of like a way better friend than what Courtney and Whitney had to offer, because she's more true to Torrance and real with her, because, you know, she's not fake and phony about it. So she kind of discovered that she can really bond with Missy and everything, and they become really close. And in this movie, it kind of changed Missy a bit, because she kind of realized that cheerleading isn't all like prissy and pom-poms and being all cutesy and popular and all that stuff. It's not. Then next day, this is the final day. It is the last day of the competition where everything goes down. Like, you either make it or break it, you know what I mean? And first up, my team, the Clovers, came out with that sick routine. Like, I loved it. It was my favorite. Like, literally, I love the routine. I still love it to this day. I love the song, the choreography, the difficulty in it. It was so fresh and gold. Like, that was a winning routine regardless. I don't care what you say. I said it once and I said it again. The Clovers tore it up. I mean, why not pull off a classic great routine like that? Mix old school and new school together. Like, there was just so many twists and turns, switches, full ups, all that stuff. Like, this is why the Clovers was like the best in this film, y'all. Like, come on. You cannot not say that we're not the best. I mean, some of y'all could disagree with me on this, but it was a good routine. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And like, it had all the classic music in there, like you probably heard on the radio and whatnot. But that routine was fly. Then after that, the Rancho Toros come on. They put on a sick. They killed it too. You know, they tore it up because Torrance really just showed that she can make a routine using theatrical, hip hop, or mime and all, or anything you can think of. You know, and she just blew the audience away with that whole routine. It was all good. And what I liked about the Rancho Toros routine is when Torrance actually used the song Clifton made for her in the music. And you know, Clifton even showed up and he was like, "Oh my God, that's my song." And it was pretty cute. I thought it was really cute and sweet that she did that for him because, you know, yeah. I mean, I got to give it to the Rancho Toros. They really pulled it off. It was so good and so creative. Like, the creativity that actually matched their ability. And without any copying or changing the name of a routine just to make it yours, that's just even better. Then finally, we have the award ceremony. And surprisingly, the Rancho Toros got second place. But as well as they should have been upset after all that hard work and all that stuff, they said they were like, you know, I'm gonna turn the other cheek and say, you know what, second place, why not? And they're all jumping excited. They did, because at the end of the day, they did a good job. So yeah, and they won. They accepted it. They were happy and everything. And then my team, the Clovers, got first. They won hands down. Like, they're the best. They had the best routine, the best choreography, best execution, all that stuff, you know. So they were the best, and I can see why they picked them, because they were good. And at the end, Isis confronts Torrance saying, "Hey, y'all were great. You were really good." And Torrance was like, "Oh no, you were good." But in this moment, Torrance did not. She may have not won that money or that trophy, but she won like the best team's respect. Like, she earned their respect. Because that just doesn't happen that much. Because this whole move was kind of like about redemption. Because, you know, Isis had to like redeem the team to be up and bring back the reputation up. And Torrance had to fix the Rancho Toros from this lie that Big Red put them in. So she had to really redeem their name, because they were a bunch of phonies stealing. Because they were known as a bunch of phonies stealing a routine. And Torrance wasn't having it, so she had to like fix it by doing that. And this ending scene was just so cool to me, because the way that they accepted each other was amazing. Because they just went from like the most, like, the Rancho Toros became the Clovers' most hated team to like their best friend now. Like, they earned their respect because Torrance just showed that they can make a routine without stealing. They can. Because you could do anything you put your mind to it, you know. And finally, after that, it was all good things and everything. They won, they became friends. And what I like about this movie is that there's just so many things. There's good things, because Torrance went from like this girl that's supposed to be perfect with the perfect boyfriend and her friends. She didn't really knew what it was to like have friends or a real loving boyfriend until Missy Clifton moved into town, because she's discovered a real friendship and a real boyfriend that cares about her more. And it kind of just shows that some relationships can break and some can make new ones, because she discovered that she can make a true friendship as well. Because that's what cheerleading is all about at the end of the day. It's about making friends, discovering friendships, and just making a living into your own team and everything, and just creating your own choreography, enjoying it. Although you don't win, you're still good no matter what. because the Rancho Toros and the Clovers, they're both good teams at the end of the day. They were both good, just despite whoever won. They were both good. So that just shows the whole connection that they have at the end of the day. And here's some things I wanted to point out, guys, like the stereotypes and typical and stuff, like how a cheerleader is. Like, they think it's all just pom-poms and hoorah and just popularity and this and that, just looking cute, girls just trying to look good for attention seekers and all that stuff. And you just think that that's all that is in this movie, when really it's really not. You just have more than that, than just a bunch of pretty girls just having their hair done, flogging themselves. Not like that. Or like the fact that people just say that cheerleading isn't a sport. Like, anything that requires like a physical, guys, it's a sport. Like, come on. Like, we work our butt ups every day. We sweat. It's like blood, sweat, and tears every day. How we put together routines and work hard and risk injury just to follow safety rules and precautions and everything. Because sometimes these gyms feel like they have no liability over our injuries, to be honest. Like, and not to mention the world, how sexist it is to say that boys should not be being cheerleader and all that stuff. They should be like football, soccer. Like, to be honest, guys, male cheerleaders are way better than female cheerleaders. Like, let's be real here. They're way better. They're stronger. They can throw the girls up high. They're the best tumblers, best jumpers. You can, however you want to say it. They're the best. Like, if a girl can play freaking football, like, a boy can be a cheerleader. Like, come on. The world shouldn't be so divided to where girls and boys should be doing, boys should do this, girls should do that. It really shouldn't. And that just shows that in this movie, how that, like, cheerleaders can relate to stuff in this movie. They can, to where girls are being represented, or how a guy is as well. And people just assumed how you are, how you act as in your sport, when it's not. So this movie just explains a lot, and just explains the reality it is. And not to mention the stereotyping of black people living in Compton. They think people like that don't have money, and that they're just poor and all that stuff. So when Torrance came up with that check, it was like, come on, we don't need pity. I mean, that's the thing about black people. Like, they don't like pity. They can figure out them for themselves. They're not poor or anything. They just strive to be the best and do what they can for their team without any help whatsoever. So there's even no need to even, like, you don't need to write me a check to make me feel better at the end of the day, because that just shows that I'm just begging, really. So I can't do that. And that's what ISIS is doing. She's showing that she doesn't need to beg to be a better captain. Like, that's not how it works. And it just shows how black women can strive to figure stuff out themselves without begging for help. I mean, like at the end of the day, black people are not a charity. Like, you don't need to do that. Other than that, guys, the movie just strives and shows the reality in cheerleading more, because it just relates to a lot of things for us in real life cheerleaders. Because how we go out and perform, like, the routine you see, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to make a routine like the one you see on stage. I mean, it's not all hoorah, 2, 4, 6, 8. It's not all pom-poms. It's not all easy like that. So just don't, like, assume that we're just sitting around just making little prissy, cute little dances, because we're not. Cheerleading is a rough sport at the end of the day. I'll say this because it's a true fact. Like, cheerleading is way tougher of a sport than freaking football, for all I care, because it's true. I mean, they're throwing footballs. We have to throw freaking people, dude. Come on. You think that's tough? I mean, I know plenty of football players who are also cheerleaders, and they even say that cheerleader is much, much more harder than football even. So it is a true fact. I mean, not to disrespect football or anything. It's tough, but I'm just saying, like, football players shouldn't say that cheerleading isn't a sport, because it really is. Like, if it requires a physical, it's a sport. Just like gymnastics is a sport, and even dancing is a sport. Anything. It's a sport regardless. If it requires sweatiness and just a lot of work, it's a sport. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like and subscribe, follow my social media, and have a nice day.